There's a popular book series which is titled What We Should Care or What We Should Give Less of a Fuck About. And I wondered, as men, what's the opposite? What are the things we need to care more about rather than give less of a fuck about? And in this short video, building on the live chats I've done on my Facebook page, I want to talk about one thing that I think we should care more about. And that is the voices in our head. We should care more about them because these are the things, it's this voice in our head that causes us so much of all our problems, our mental and emotional health, stress and anxiety, overworking, burnout, hurting people, hurting ourselves. So it's so important that we consider and we care about the voice in our head. But not that we care about it more, not that we believe it more, but that we notice it more. So when I say care, I mean care for ourselves and notice the voice in our head. Because that voice in our head has said so many things. Things like, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve to be treated well. You can only rest when you've finished all your tasks. You're not as good as so-and-so. You'll never be as good as so-and-so. That person's more important than you. That person's better than you. That person is more experienced than you. You can't do that. You never finish things. And so many more things that voice in our head gets us to say, or not doesn't get us to say, but we often hear it. And it could be characterised as the demon on one side and the angel on the other, but it could more closely be the truth versus the lies. Because often those things are lies. Actually, all of those things are lies. And the problem is not that they are lies, but the more we give attention to them, the more attention we give them, the more we believe them. And the more we believe them, the more we realise that those lies are ruling our lives. So, what do we do about them? First thing is we've got to notice them. What we could do is when we hear it, we could shout it back. We could say it out loud, and we could say, of course I'm better than so-and-so, or yes, of course I deserve to be treated well. We could consider ourselves in a battle with the voice in our head all the time. The voices that invalidate our experiences and tell us that we don't deserve to be happy. We could try and fight them. But what that does often is cause us more anxiety because it's a continual fight and it gives attention to those words. It makes them dig deep. It's almost like they're in a battle too and they dig the trench deeper the more we try and fight against them because they get all the attention. So what can we do instead? What we need to do is to create a gap. When we hear those voices, we create a gap, and so that we can respond in a way that's from ourselves. That we create a space to not fight, to not get bogged down by them, but to treat those voices with warmth, because some of those voices might have protected us in the past. But we don't need them anymore. So what if we said, if we hear ourselves, our self-talk say that so-and-so is more important than me, whether it's a family member, partner, friend, work colleague, what's going on there? Is that us feeling inferior? But anyway, let's not go for the causes, because that doesn't help either. So when we hear a voice that gives us that message, we could wallow, we could feel self-pity, or we could create space and let it say what it needs to say, listen to it, and talk back to it, in a way that's kind and firm, that's from the heart and from the truth. We could say, actually, I am as important as that other person. Thank you for saying what you said, but I want to remind you that I am important, that I have a place in the world, that I am enough, and what I can do is of significance, and I am significant. Calmly, gently, responding back to the voice. But to do this, we need to create space. In our minds, when we hear those voices of self-criticism, self-loathing, self-doubt, whatever those voices are, and we give ourselves space to respond to them gently, calmly, patiently, and not be frustrated that those voices keep coming back, because that creates more emotional difficulty for ourselves. But to respond calmly and to say from ourselves, I am not that person anymore who used to believe the voice. I am important. I am me. And give ourselves time and love and care and attention. Give that part of ourselves that time, care and attention, and not the voice. It could be the voice of knowledge. We could hear it as, and it wants to say that it knows us really well, and it wants to say that it knows the truth, but actually it doesn't, because we are truth, and that's who we are. Sometimes we might need to do the opposite. Like this evening, and any time I put myself in front of a camera, the doubts in my head are about whether I'm good on camera, or whether I have anything to say, or whether I'm experienced, or whether all manner of self-doubts. But to sit in front of a camera and to talk and to do the opposite is to practice something different, is to practice a way of being that's different to what the voices might stop me from doing. So we might want to practice doing the opposite of what the voice says. If we hear a voice that tells us we can't draw and we can't be creative, then go ahead, get the crayons and do whatever you want to do on paper, or write a song, or sing from your heart, if that's the voice you've heard all your life. Because it's time for you and I to not listen to those voices anymore, to realise who we are, that we are enough, that we are important, that we have a contribution to make, and that from our heart we are able to be ourselves and not listen to those voices anymore. So something we should care about is those voices, because it's better to listen and calmly respond and to realise who we are as a process of those voices coming our way, rather than get anxious and depressed and try and fight the voices. It's time to give them back, to put them in their place, to tell them they're not needed anymore, to tell them that we're different, to tell them that we're not feeling guilty or shame. But it's time to be strong and firm with those voices. If you'd like to hear more about this kind of thing, I suggest people like Eckhart Tolle and his work on YouTube. You can get hold of that for free, especially Googling anxiety and fear. There's many other people I would recommend too. So thank you for watching. Short video on the voices in our head. Thank you for joining me on this Healing for Men video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.